Buongiorno studenti. Today I want to talk about a common struggle for many students. What to do when you forget a word in Italian and how to keep speaking without getting stuck. In my many years of experience as a teacher, I've seen so many students who can understand Italian quite well and also know a lot of Italian, but when they try to speak, they often suddenly stop. And that happens because they cannot remember one specific word. And instead of continuing, they just freeze. And the problem is that in this way, the whole conversation stops. The student feels stuck. They start feeling uncomfortable, and oftentimes they just switch back to English. Now, this is such a common experience because most students think that to speak in Italian, they need to know every single word. So when one word is missing, they feel like they cannot continue. But this is not how real communication works. Even we native speakers sometimes cannot remember a word, and I bet that happens to you too in your native language. But you know what? We still keep talking. So here's the technique that I always teach students to overcome this problem so you can keep talking in Italian too. If you don't know a word, or if you cannot recall that word in that specific moment, this technique still applies, then don't stop. Go around it. Go around the word that's missing. So instead of stopping, describe the word or explain the idea or use simpler words that you already know to express the same concept. Remember that the goal is not perfection. The goal is communication. Now, let me show you how this works in real life so that you can really understand how this technique you can apply this technique to your experience of speaking Italian if it happens to you too that you freeze while speaking. So, let's pretend we don't remember a specific word. For example, the Italian word for fork. Non lo so, okay? I don't know it right now. So what can I do? Instead of stopping, we can say something that describe the thing. So if I cannot remember how to say fork, I can still describe what a fork is. Per esempio, we could say it is something, is a thing that you use for eating. So we can say è una cosa che usi per mangiare. It is a thing, it's something that you use for eating. Let's add something more. So we want to say fork, but we can remember fork, but fork is not a spoon. So we can say it's not a spoon. Non è un cucchiaio. And then we could add, it's like, it's pointy, has some points, which is the difference from the spoon, for example. So we could say ha delle punte. Quindi è una cosa che usi per mangiare. Non è un cucchiaio, ha delle punte. La forchetta. There you have it. Forchetta, that's the Italian word for fork. So at this point, what happens is that usually the other person will understand what you wanted to say and will guess the word, or you yourself will be able to recall the word because by describing it, it's like you are activating connections between words and concepts that all point in the same direction, which is the word that you were missing, forchetta. Let's do this with another word. For example, the word for keys. Okay. Now, what you could do is that you could describe the thing or what it is used for. So, for example, for keys, you could say they are the things that you use to open a door. Quindi, sono le cose che usi per aprire una porta. Quindi sono le cose che usi per aprire una porta. Or in these situations, even something even simpler that you could say is, I don't remember the word, Non ricordo la parola, so you can add this, but it is to open something, to open the car. Quindi non ricordo la parola, ma è per aprire la macchina. Le chiavi. There you have it. Perfetto. So this way you are not freezing anymore and you're keeping the conversation alive. I myself use this technique all the time when I cannot think of a word or, for example, a person's name. This still works with person's names. This technique gives your brain the time to activate the connections that are involved in recalling that specific word or that specific name, while keeping the conversation going at the same time. And I would love to know, has this ever happened to you too? So, does your mind go blank when you cannot recall a specific Italian word? Or is there anything else that makes you freeze when trying to speak Italian? Let me know in the comments. I always love to read them. Now, something that you might be thinking at this point, I know this very well, is this. Valentina, this works if you already know some Italian, but what if I don't know enough words yet? And that's a good question. And it's also a very common feeling, especially if you are a beginner or a total beginner. But here's the important thing. You don't need a lot of words to start speaking. You just need a small set of basic words and the ability to use them flexibly. So, even with simple vocabulary, you can already start describing things or explaining ideas, and most importantly, keep the conversation going, even if in a very simple, basic way. So, please don't let this stop you from trying. I don't want you to tell yourself, oh, but I don't know any words or I know very few words and I cannot try this. No, you can. You can try this. The sooner you apply this technique, the faster you will master speaking in Italian without freezing because this will become second nature. But of course, if you're literally just starting out with your Italian learning journey and you want a clear, structured way to build your vocabulary and to start speaking step by step, then my course Italian 101 might really help you with that. Italian 101 is my complete online course for beginners, where I guide you step by step through the basics of the Italian language. In this program, I explain the basics of Italian grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary with clear lessons and interactive exercises that are designed especially for beginners. If you would like to try the course, you can start with a free trial and see if the method works for you. You will find the link in the description below this video. Now, one last tip. The best way to get used to this technique is to practice it a lot on your own. So pick one moment in your day when you can do this exercise. For example, in the morning when you're having your breakfast. Quando fai colazione. Then just look around you and pick a simple object near you. For example, your phone, a table, or a cup. And try to describe it in Italian using the words you know and possibly do that out loud. Don't do that in your head. It works better if you do that out loud. But keep it simple. Even a few words are enough. What matters is that you are building the habit of doing this regularly. This way, as I told you before, it becomes second nature when you will need these in real life conversations. So please, don't stop when a word is missing, just go around it and keep speaking Italian. And that's all for today. I will see you in my next video. Ci vediamo al prossimo video. Ciao da Valentina.